Welcome to Alchemy Wizard! I'm Tom. Let's talk lasers and maybe a few other things that are going on here. A little catch-up and summary of stuff going on. Now, this is my laser rig. I think it's kind of impressive looking, especially with the wires on it. I've had to tear the whole thing down and literally glue the pieces together to get the lasers focused into the right place down here. Especially since I'm now using, instead of 150 milliliters of water, I'm using 500 milliliters of water, and that creates a problem with where the laser actually winds up because of the water displacing the laser a little bit. But that being said, I wanted to, before I talk about the laser project, let's just show you guys what this looks like. Alright, this is 4 lasers, and in here is a little piece of copper that I mashed up with a hammer and put down in there because I'm experimenting with copper right now. The last time I experimented with vanadium. Vanadium is a very hard metal to create a colloidal out of. Copper is also a very hard metal to create a colloidal out of. So I figured let's move on to copper and see what happens. And I will bring you to the revelatory things. First, we put on the safety glasses. Gotta have the red glasses with the green lasers. And you guys don't have to worry about it because you're looking at it through the camera. So, I'm gonna turn this on. Turn this one on. Come on, turn you on. Turn this on. And turn this on. And I know you can't see it, but you got a big bright dot in the bottom of this thing right now where it is nuking the piece of copper that's in there. And this is my shield. I can turn this shield around like this. Okay, then I can take my safety glasses off and I don't have to worry about the bright green light splashing into my eyes and wrecking the eyes. So, I've been doing 10 minutes at a time with this thing. We'll do another 10 minutes here. Maybe my video will be done by then. I don't really want to do a very long video. So let's keep going. So, I'm working with copper. Now, at first, with my initial thing with the copper, it didn't work. I did the test on it. I blasted the heck out of it. I had a very low copper concentration. So I put the sample aside. I had some orders I had to make for the nano store, get them shipped out to those people that desperately need their colloidals. And when I came back to the sample about a day and a half later, and I put it in the video microscope, I was rewarded with something like this. Maybe not as prolific, but anyway, something like this. I was like, holy mackerel, the thing grew colloidals. Now, if you've been following along with what I've been talking about, when we did the magnesium, I had the same thing. The magnesium, I cooked the magnesium, I did the thing, it worked out okay. We had some colloidals in there, nothing terrific. But then a few days later, we had a whole bunch of colloidals. We grew colloidals out of thin air, just like growing crystals. Baffling me, baffling my chemist, and all that stuff. So, I don't know why I, didn't think that this was going to propagate like the magnesium did, but it did. I just thought the magnesium was a fluke. Over time, took about 24 hours, 24, maybe 2 days, colloidals grew in here. Now, again, I had talked about it in the previous thing of why we think these colloidals are actually propagating. And I think it's a really cool process that nobody has actually discovered. And I can't call it laser ablation anymore. Laser ablation is the melting of the material. The lasers vaporize the material goes up into the water, solution is cooled down, and then it becomes a colloidal. Copper has a melting point of 19, I believe, don't quote me on it, but my chemist had said it, 1900 degrees Fahrenheit. There is no way in the world that these 4 lasers combined together can reach a temperature, because they're low-level laser pointers, can reach a 1900 degree temperature. So they're liberating, well, my chemists and I believe they're liberating the material and changing it into a colloidal. I don't know what to call this new process, but let's call it Photon Electron Excitation. I know that's a lot to say, but basically, we believe the lasers are, the photon energy from the lasers are exciting the electrons in the outer orbit of the material, whatever material we cook, and making them go away, just fly out of the orbits. And when that happens, the material becomes unhinged and releases itself and goes into the fluid. Now, the mystery part of this whole thing is we are using very little material off the metals to create these colloidals. Now, let's backtrack. Gold and silver. When I cook gold and silver, low voltage electrolysis, gold and silver, we're looking at 8 milligrams of material, giving you about 12 parts per million solution of apparent 12 parts per million colloidal content. Now, when I started doing the plasma arc colloidals, things were very different. When I cook gold, and let's say I cook gold and silver in plasma arc, we use 2 milligrams of material, and we get 20 parts per million apparent colloidals. So what's happening here? It's the efficiency of the process. Plasma arc colloidals is very efficient. So lots of material gets converted into apparent colloidals. Low voltage electrolysis is the most inefficient method of creating colloidals. So there's a lot of waste there. Now apparently, I can't say for certain, I'm going to do more tests on this. The laser method, the photon method that I'm using here, is extremely efficient, using micrograms of material. Because I have a 4 decimal place scale and I cannot measure the content coming off of the metal, which means it has to be under 500 micrograms. It's probably looking at 100 micrograms of material, or maybe even less, coming off of here and creating an apparent, this one here is about 12 to 15 parts per million solution of copper nanoparticles. And I'm hoping to get this up to about 20. That is impressive. Let's face it. I mean, think about the expensive metals, gold and platinum. You can take this laser method. If this all pans out, it's still experimental, okay? We could take this laser method, put it on a piece of gold, and literally never have to replace that gold ever, because of the small amount of material that would be used in the process and the high efficiency of the colloidals created. Believe me, this is like monumental in colloidal processes. And I'm kind of really excited about it. Now maybe you guys aren't so excited about it, looking at the numbers on the last short when I released on this, but I'm kind of excited about it. It's kind of taking up most of my time these days, trying to figure out, me and my chemist are on the phone constantly trying to figure out exactly what's going on here. How are we creating these mystery colloidals? It's absolutely amazing. We know we're creating them. The only thing in the water is the metal. There's nothing else in there. And the lasers. So we are creating colloidals. And with the video microscope, we know how much of the colloidals we're creating. The material, like I said, becomes a factor of how you create your colloidals. How much material is used to how many colloidals are coming out. I would love to say that there's a quick and easy formula for it, but there's not. The only way to really know is you need an electron microscope, or you need a video microscope like I have here that can actually see the colloidal concentrations. But that's okay. That's neither here nor there. I'm just explaining to you this process, this absolutely magnificent process. So, I'm going to continue on with my laser tests here and let you know what other things that I might discover from it. In the meantime, I going to get some other shows up. I know I promised other shows, but I'm going to get some other shows up. I got some things planned, so hopefully I'll see you guys soon. I love talking to you guys. I love visiting with each and every one of you. And even though I can't see you, I know all of you are out there. So please share my channel to get the numbers up, the subscriptions up and stuff. And if you need colloidal nanoparticles, head to the Nano Store. I'm Tom. This is Alchemy Wizard, and I will talk to all of you again soon.